talking about aliens. We're going to read this, and then you guys are going to pick the 10 that you think are the most important and should be included in your rights. After you do this, keep it on your desk because we're going to refer back to it. Let me know if you need any more. Okay, so it says, you've got rights. We defeated the aliens. Now what? The year is 2056. After a huge battle with alien invaders that nearly destroyed the world, people are afraid about what rights we'll have under a new government. Leaders have decided to create a pamphlet of protections to define what rights people will have. So you guys need to look at the proposed rights and pick the top 10 that you think should be included. So go ahead and mark 10, and then we'll talk about it. You need a pencil? Ready? Pick the top 10. Alright, so now we are going to read this first page of the packet that I just handed out. Does everyone have a highlighter with you, or does anyone need one? Okay, we only have a couple. Does anyone have any they can share? I do. You could use a pen and maybe underline it if you don't have a highlighter.
Ooh, good.
Okay, so it says, you have rights. We defeated the British. Now what? The year is 1791. After a bloody war against the British, the American colonists have won their independence. So if you look up here, guys, everything you need highlighted is already highlighted for you. The new Americans are excited, but some people are afraid about what rights they'll have under a new government. They've already suffered under the heavy hand of the British king. Now, some American leaders want to create a list of rights to define what rights American citizens will have. Leaders of the new United States of America have already written a constitution that explains exactly how the new government will work. The only problem, it can't take effect until it's approved by the new states. And there are some state leaders who don't like it. So you guys have talked about this already, right? You talked about the Anti-Federalists.
Yes.
The Anti-Federalists are the people that do not like the Constitution and they want the Bill of Rights to be included. They fear a strong central government and they are demanding that the Constitution include a list of citizen rights. Without such a list, they warn the national government will violate people's rights. They're threatening to stop the Constitution from being approved unless a list is added, which are our 10 Bill of Rights. But then there's another group known as the Federalists, which you guys have already talked about. And the Federalists insist that the Constitution alone is enough to protect the citizens' rights. They warn that it is impossible to list every single right that citizens should have, but once rights are written, the government could take advantage by violating rights that aren't on the list. Both sides are convinced the right to move forward. They hammered out a compromise, which is known as the Bill of Rights. Instead of including a list of rights in the main parts of the Constitution, they add it as the first 10 amendments or changes to the Constitution, which today we're going to talk about the first 10 amendments. One of these amendments is that the rights are listed are not the only rights citizens have. There are 3 main categories of rights: individual freedoms, protections against the government, abuse and power, and rights of people accused of crimes. So can you guys think of an example for each of those 3 main categories? What do you think an individual freedom you have is? What do you think? Yeah? So you can have the right to choose what religion you want or no religion at all. What do you think?
Play sports.
Play sports? Okay. What do you think?
It doesn't go for children, but the right to bear arms.
The right to bear arms, yep, you're right.
Right to vote.
Right to vote, okay. What do you think protects us against government from abusing their power? So what do you think as a citizen, what is your right against the government? What do you think? Freedom of speech? I think that'd be more your individual right of freedom. But what about, have you guys heard of probable cause? You know what that is? Okay, so we're gonna talk about that today. So it's where if someone comes to your door, say the cops come to your door, and they want to search your house. Can you let them in, or do they have to have a reason? A warrant, right? Okay, so that is protected from the government abuse of power. And then rights of people being accused of crimes. If you get accused of a crime, do you go to court by yourself, or who do you hire? Right, so you have the right to hire an attorney. Okay, so the more and more rights. All right, as time went on, later amendments added more rights to the Constitution. Amending the Constitution is not always an easy process, and it is not supposed to be. But the difficult process has meant that important rights were slow to evolve. So after the bloody Civil War was fought between the northern and southern states, African Americans who had been enslaved in the United States gained their freedom. In the 1860s and 70s, the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment were added for rights for former slaves and people of color. In the 20th century, the 19th and 26th Amendments added voting rights for women and citizens as young as 18. Why do you think they added rights for citizens at 18? What do you think?
That time it was World War, and they're sending out the young soldiers, and the old soldiers should have the right to vote and prison and something else.
Yeah, you're right, because before that, 18-year-olds had no say whether or not they got sent to war or if they could vote or anything. So they added that amendment. Even today, people are campaigning to amend the Constitution and add rights for groups that are still disadvantaged. So if you look at this little picture here on the left, it says suffrage in the 1910s, fight for women's right to vote. Women won the right in 1919. This is the 19th Amendment that was passed, is the right for women to vote. And if you really think about it, that was not that long ago that women got the right to vote. So next, we are going to look at the next page. And the amendments actually go with that starting prompt that we did. So we can see if what you thought the most important ones go along with the amendments. So who thought protection number 3 was important? Okay. So that goes with Amendment 1. So number 1 says the people shall have the right to own weapons. Oh wait, no, number 3. People are free to express their opinions on any subject. So you have that constitutional right under Amendment 1. Also, who thought number 15 was important? So we talked about that too. A person may follow any religion or no religion at all. So that right is protected under Amendment 1. So Amendment 1 is really important because it has 5 things that give you rights. So we talked about the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech. Let's see what other ones we have. So this one was easy, I just said it. So R for Amendment 1, what do you think R stands for? Religion. So we have religion. And then we have, what do you think the A stands for?
Arms.
Arms. Close. If you read the amendment here, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise therefore. Not abridging. Assemble. Yep. Okay, and then what do you think? There's 2 P's. What do you think the first P is? Petition. Yep. And who knows what the second P is?
Me? Prosecutions?
No. What do you think?
Using with the press?
The press. Right. And then the S is easy. What do you think that says? The freedom of speech. Now, do you guys think you can kind of have a freedom of speech wherever you go, or do you think there's kind of limitations on that? Limitations? Yeah, so in school, there's school rules, right? So if you say, oh, I'm just using my freedom of speech, you can still get in trouble because of the school rules. And then Ms. Binford said earlier, if you go to the mall and you yell fire and there's no fire, you could still get in trouble, especially if people get hurt by trying to evacuate. So there's kind of limitations on that. Okay, so Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, which means violated. So who thought on your pamphlet of protection that number 1 was important? A lot of you guys. The people shall have the right to own weapons. So that's a big thing that people kind of go back and forth with, whether citizens should be able to, can't have them? I think they're trying to regulate it more, just because there's more illegal guns out there right now, but they still can have the right to own weapons, you just have to have your license and, you know, all that. So that one's really important. Amendment 3, didn't go with any protection, but it says no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered or housed in any house without the consent of the owner. Why do you think they included this in the Bill of Rights? What do you think?
Oh,
What do you think?
it's because,
You guys
in
talked
the
about
British, there was, like, they would have soldiers after the war or something, have them go, they could go into someone's house.
Yeah.
And they would have to, like, take care of them and stuff.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because in the colonial time, the British forced, yep, there we go. So that is why Amendment 3 is included. I don't feel like we really see that much anymore, but it is in your rights. So Amendment 4, who thought number 11 was important? Alright, so number 11 on our pamphlet of protection says, no person shall be searched without a good reason, which is the search warrant that I was talking about earlier, and it's also called probable cause. So the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched, and the persons or things to be seized. So Ms. Binford had a cute thing that I think is nice, how to remember Amendment 4. She said when the cops knock, you have your Fourth Amendment right to say, do you have probable cause to search my house? So that's how you can remember Amendment 4. Because without that warrant, the cops are not allowed to come into your home. So Amendment 5. Who thought number 14 was important? Alright, so that one says no person will be put on trial twice for the same crime. What do you guys think of when you hear that? No person will be put on trial twice for the same crime. What do you think?
I think it's a little kind of crime.
What kind of crime? So what that's saying is if you go to court and the jury finds you guilty or not guilty, say they find you not guilty, and then you walk out of the courtroom and you say, oh, well, I really did murder that person. I really did steal that car. You can't be put on trial again if the jury already says that you weren't guilty. So that one was kind of interesting. Do you guys know who O.J. Simpson is?
Oh, yes, I watched a documentary on that.
Yeah, so he's a little older than I think you guys, but you know. So O.J. Simpson was put on trial, and he was found not guilty for killing his ex-wife. So now the whole thing came back up years later, and everyone thinks that he did kill his wife. So this amendment is saying since he was found not guilty, he's still not guilty. So it's pretty interesting. So if you're a criminal, I guess that could protect you if you're found not guilty. Okay, let's see. So Amendment 5 is important because it talks of the rights of the accused and the due process and no self-incrimination. So that means, what do you think no self-incrimination means?
Isn't suicide, right?
No, not suicide. So, let me scroll down here actually. Getting too ahead. So what do we think no self-incrimination means? subjected for the same offense and be put twice in the jeopardy of life or limb, so we just talked about that. Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. What is that? What do you think?
You can't set yourself up for being in court for a crime that you didn't do.
Okay. What do you think?
I think by self-incrimination it means they can't tell me you did this. Sign
Right.
this paper right now,
Right?
or I'm gonna break all your fingers, or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, so it's saying that if they are accusing you of something, you don't have to testify against yourself. Which means you can say, I plead the fifth, I do not want to discuss this. And also, it goes for if you get married someday, you don't have to testify against your spouse, which is your husband or your wife. So our Amendment 6 protects us against that. So Amendment 7 doesn't go with any of the protections. Oh, it's almost time. Okay, so you guys have an early release day, so I guess we gotta get out soon. I'm gonna pass out just this quick little written response. It says, based on the amendments that we just discussed, so the 1 through 6, which do you believe is the most important, and explain why? So which one do you think is the most important for us?